and peace be with you all, humanities and social sciences students of Lutucan Integrated National High School. I am Ma'am Christine Joy S. Galeon-Lontoc. You can call me Ma'am Bujoy for short. So our topic for today's lesson is all about creative nonfiction and its genre. At the end of this lesson, you are expected to A. Define creative nonfiction from various writers. B. Identify dominant literary conventions of a particular genre. And C. Analyze and interpret the theme and techniques used in a particular text. Just a gentle reminder before we dig into our lesson. Since I'll be asking you to write your creative feedback, realizations, and learnings after the session through social media or any platform in social media, try to practice the golden rule. So what is it? Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. Remember, your written words are read by real people. Everyone deserves a respectful communication. Thank you! As we move further, let us play a simple game. Looks like you're all excited. I can feel you virtually, huh? By the way, I just learned this brain teaser activity from DepEd's Itulay tutorial session in creative nonfiction. So this game is called Crack the Code. I have here a chart of English alphabet with its corresponding numbers. I'll show you a set of numbers and all you have to do is to replace each number with the letter corresponding to that number. Don't worry, I'll give you a clue to every number. You can answer the following truthfully as I read the questions. Write it in a short bond paper and submit it on our Google Drive. Place it in your respective folder. Strictly no erasure, dear students. So let's start it! So we have here the chart of the English alphabet with its corresponding numbers. A for 1, B 2, and the rest. You can see it. So let's move on to number 1. We have number 13, 5, 13, 15, 9, and 18. So we have a clue here. It's a long form, book length, written work, first-hand personal account on a specific experience. You have 30 seconds to substitute the numbers. So, what's the answer? Yes, it's memoir. Very good for those who answered it correctly. So, let's go to number 2. 2, 9, 15, 7, 18, 1, 16, 8, and 25. So our clue is the story of a person's life written by another person. So you have 30 seconds to answer. So, what is the answer, dear students? I know most of you are correct. The answer is biography. Very good. Let's move on to number 3. So we have number 1, 21, 20, 15, 2, 9, 15, 7, 18, 1, 16, 8, and 25. So our clue here is it is a self-written life story. 30 seconds. So, do you have the answer? We can call this an autobiography. Okay. So, let's move on to number 4. We have number 20, 5, 3, 8, 14, 9, 17, 21, and 5. So our clue here is, in literature, this refers to the style and process used in a literary piece. You have 30 seconds to answer. And now, let's reveal the answer. It's technique. Thanks for participating in this simple activity. Now, this is the last, okay? Try to crack this code. This is you. You are 13, 1, 7, 14, 9, 6, 9, 3, 5, 14, and 20. 30 seconds. Alright, so you got the answer? Oh, yes. If you are really good, if you're really that person I am pertaining to, so yes, you are magnificent. And now, let us define creative nonfiction from various writers. So the question here is, Ma'am, why is it creative but nonfiction? Okay, how can be creative but nonfiction? In Tagalog, bakit po ma'am kailangan maging malikhain pero makatotohanan? Okay? So, creative means imagination. You are using your imagination to create something different. Okay? And it is something that is not real. But in nonfiction, you're going to use factual stories or information, and dapat talaga ito ay yung true stories that had happened. Hindi ka pwedeng mag-create ng mga stories na hindi naman talaga totoong nangyari. So, we will find out bakit creative pero non-fiction. Okay? So, let us discuss the different definition of creative non-fiction from different perspective of some of the writers we know. So, according to Lee Gutkind, okay? So, the term creative non-fiction is credited to him, Lee Gutkind, who defines this genre of true stories well told. Totoong mga pangyayari na mahusay na inilahad o mahusay na isabi. Okay? So, however, the concept of literary nonfiction has its roots in ancient poetry, historical accounts, and religious beliefs. Throughout the history of people, have tried to keep a record of the human experience and have done so through the vehicle of story since the invention of language. True stories well told. Yung mga makatotohanang pangyayari ay totoong inilalahad sa mahusay na pamamaraan. Okay? So sabi rin ni Lee Gutkind, okay, it's the combination of style and substance. Diba? When it comes to fashion, syempre, maganda nakadamit ka ng maayos, lalo na kung fashion show ang pupuntahan mo or isang ball, so you have to be grand din, di ba? Hindi pwedeng puro style lang kasi kung pupunta ka sa isa halimbawa na isang pagtitipon, okay, syempre makikipag-usap ka doon, so you have to make sure that you have your substance, you have the substance sa personality mo, how you communicate with them, with the other guests, something like that, okay? So, yung style and substance hindi pwedeng paghiwalayin according to Lee Gutkind kasi sa pagsulat ng non-fiction, kailangan hindi lang puro style or hindi lang marunong ka sa tamang organization or structure ng isang genre of writing. But then, you have to show to the people or to the readers the real substance or yung may mai-squeeze or meron silang makakatas na magandang message or inspirational thing na pwede nilang magamit sa kanilang buhay. So, kaya hindi siya pwedeng paghiwalayin. Okay? So, from the essayist, memoirist, and diva of non-fiction prose style, si Annie Dillard has said, she writes to fashion a text. Okay? So, bakit ba kailangan i-fashion ng isang text? Okay? Bakit ba hindi na lang sumulat? Diba? So, in here, si Annie Dillard, hindi lang siya basta sumusulat. Okay? So, dun sa mga articles na nabasa ko, na sinulat niya, gumagamit siya ng hindi naman highfalutin words, kundi gumagamit siya ng mga pananalita na angkop din sa kanyang totoong sinasabi pero nagpi-play siya ng mga words. Meron siyang mga ginagamit ng mga techniques on how to fashion her own text. Okay? Para mas ma-entertain din ang mga readers niya. So, I have here an example, pero hindi si Annie Dillard ang gumawa nito, okay? I just searched it from the Google. So, it's all about the rose, a rose. So, meron dalawang description dito, dalawang tula actually about a rose. Pero tingnan natin, what is the difference between these two, okay? So, in this, in the left side, on the left side of the column, okay? So, let's read it. Its stem has spikes, its buds are red, it got a long green leg, and soft petals for a head. So, dun sa kabila naman, sa right side, at the end of a trail of razor thorns, ruby petals and scarlet buds sit, like smooth velvet, resting atop on an emerald staff rooted in the earth. So what is the difference between these two poems na may iisang subject? Simple lang, di ba? So kung titingnan natin, pwedeng ang audience ng left side ay mga youngsters or the grown-ups. O, sabihin natin yung mga young of today na may limited vocabulary lang, okay? But we cannot judge them. Pero yun dito lang sa perspective ng sumulat, okay? So dito naman sa kabila, makikita natin na ang audience na gusto niyang sulatan ng kanyang particular poem ay medyo nakakaunawa na ng mga words na nilalaro or ng mga words na hindi typical, okay? Pero yun din naman yung ibig sabihin niya, kaya lang in here, makikita natin yung fashioning of a text, 'di ba? So, simple lang yung kabila and yung the other side ay medyo mabigat na. So, ganun tayo gumagawa ng non-fiction minsan, okay? Pero hindi naman kailangan na masyadong malalim ang ating mga pananalita. Kasi kailangan din naman hindi ma-sacrifice ang substance nito, hindi ma-sacrifice yung gusto mo lang talagang sabihin in a simple way. Pero you have to play your words, okay? So, that's creativity, diba? So, let's have this smart art organizer for you to be able to clearly understand what creative nonfiction really is. I opted to use a funnel because I want you to realize that this genre of writing encompasses all the fluid of emotions, creativity, impact, and knowledge. And these are the goals of creative nonfiction. So, why shows and not tells? Look at this example from one of the DepEd's tutorial videos. Okay, let's read this. The taller man was a carpenter, complete with the tools of his trade. So it's merely telling. There's nothing wrong here, but as you can see, it's just a simple description of a carpenter. You are just telling what you see. But since we are into creative nonfiction, creativity matters. So let's try to read this one. A saw and hammer dangled from his belt, and an adze was hooked into it. One thumbnail was black, and when he bowed, he saw several long wood shavings caught in his curly hair. Ang daming sinabi, diba? But it is showing. In here, you're trying to create vivid images that can be seen through words. It's not exaggerating the description, but it tends to add some color or life to make it more entertaining. Certainly, one goal of creative nonfiction is to entertain, okay? And also inform people or readers. Though telling the truth, they said that facts alone are too dry and too absent of association. Okay? However, creative nonfiction should move people while being entertained and informed. I believe this genre should shape impact to the lives of the readers. And that's what's actually happening. Okay? Now, let's move on to some of the common genres of creative nonfiction. So we have the memoir, autobiography, biography, personal essay, speeches, journal, diary, okay, and the rest of the genres, okay. I will not cite some of those, but actually creative nonfiction has lots of genres, but we will try to focus on these common genres, okay. And for the personal essay, speeches, journal, diary, we will continue that on our next session. Okay, let's focus on the memoir, autobiography, and biography. Okay, let's have a brief description of the following examples. Okay, so we have here the memoir. Okay, I'm gonna read this. There's a different texture to this place as compared to the rest of the city. A sort of sensory overload happens when you step in. Before coming here, I was in an environment that was, at least for our team, quiet and predictable. Throughout the day, you would hear the clickety-clack of keyboards, co-workers talking to one another, and attempted hashed laughter at workplace antics, and occasionally the sound of booming voices that cut through the silence of the place. This is from the article that I had read Okay, it's choosing to stay home from Astrid Ilano. Okay, based on the game we played a while ago, memoir is defined as a long-form book length written work, first-hand personal account on a personal experience. Meanwhile, this example is a personal experience, right? The author is trying to show what he feels and what he actually experienced before coming into that place. Naninibago siya sa mismong tahanan niya kumpara sa nakagawian niyang lugar kung saan may ingay and abala sa pagtatrabaho. So, ano bang trabaho niya? Feeling ko, he is a call center agent. Okay? It's a dated experience since it happened during this pandemic. Okay? So let's move on to autobiography and biography. So what's the difference between these two genres? So a biography is a description of a real person's life. Also, it includes factual details as well as stories from the people or from the person's life. Okay? It usually includes the information of the subject's personality and motivations, and other kinds of intimate details excluded in a general overview or profile of a person's life. So the vast majority of biography examples are written about people who were famous, such as politicians, actors, athletes, and so on. However, some biographies can be written about people who lived incredible lives but were not necessarily well known. As we can see, okay, if the person being written about or his or family members have given permission for a certain author to write the biography, okay, so the biography can be labeled authorized. So here, the biography comes from the Greek word bios, meaning life, and graphia, meaning writing. How about autobiography? An autobiography is a self-written life story. Okay? It is different from biography. Why? Okay? Which is the life story of a person written by someone else. Okay? Some people may have their life story written by another person because they don't believe they can write so well. But they are still considered an author because they are providing the information. Okay? Reading autobiographies may be interesting than biographies. Why? Because you are reading the thoughts of the person instead of someone else's interpretation. So it's very personalized, okay? So I had read the example, one of the famous example of an autobiography, which is entitled as The Diary of a Young Girl, if I'm not mistaken. So this is from Anne Frank's thoughts, interpretation, her own interpretation of her life. Okay? So, kilala niyo ba si Anne Frank? Okay, 15 years old pa lang, ano na siya sumusulat na rin talaga siya. Okay? So, ito yung kanya. Si Anne Frank kasi, during war, na naranasan nila noon, okay, nagtago lang sila sa attic, okay? So, pwede nating mas talakayin pa yan, mas i-discuss pa, okay? So, pasadahan lang natin yung naranasan niyang pain or yung naranasan niyang hardships during the war that they had been facing nung time na yon, okay? Sabi niya, I finally realized that I must do my school work to keep from being ignorant, to get on in life, to become a journalist, because that's what I want. I know I can write, but it remains to be seen whether I really have talent. Look, it's so simple, okay? Pero ito na yung personal niyang thoughts, insight, okay? And if I don't have the talent to write books or newspaper articles, I can also write for myself. But I want to achieve more than that. I can't imagine living like Mother, Mrs. Van Dan, and all the women who go about their work and are then forgotten. I need to have something besides a husband and children to devote myself to. Nakikita nyo, lumalalim yung sinasabi niya. So it's not merely a story, it's not merely about her passion sa pagsulat, but she wants something to live habang buhay pa siya or kapag namatay na siya. Sabi niya, something besides a husband and children to devote myself to. So ano ba yun? I want to be useful or bring enjoyment to people, to all people. Meaning to say there's a purpose she want to achieve. Okay? Even those I've never met. I want to go on living even after my death. Okay? Ito yung pinakamalalim na nagustuhan ko sa kanya. Okay? Gusto niya pa rin mabuhay kahit namatay na siya. So, yung ginagawa natin ngayon, nabubuhay siya kahit patay na siya. So, bakit? Because she has this memoir. Okay? And that's why I'm so grateful to God for having given me this gift, which I can use to develop myself and to express all that's inside me. When I write, I can shake off all my cares. My sorrow disappears. My spirits are revived. And that's a big question. Will I ever be able to write something great? Will I ever become a journalist or a writer? So, abangan natin. Ano ba nangyari kay Anne Frank? Okay? Dito lang tayo mag-focus. So, paano niya inilabas yung kanyang pagkagusto sa pagsulat na napunta sa purpose niya na maka-inspire din ng people. Okay? So, ganun yung sumusulat. Nilalawakan yung perspective, nilalawakan yung nararamdaman, dapat naiiparamdam din or naiipadama rin sa mga taong kanyang nakakausap or makakabasa ng certain piece of writing na ginagawa. Okay? Dapat laging may impact. So, ganun yung life ni Anne Frank. Okay? So, bibitinin ko muna kayo kay Anne Frank. Okay? So, there are types of autobiography and we will discuss this on the next session. But let's just have a glimpse of about these types of autobiography. So, we have full autobiography, memoir, psychological illness, confession, spiritual, and overcoming adversity. Okay, diba? Exciting. Aaralin natin lahat yan when we move to the autobiography lesson. Okay? But before we go to the activity, I will play a video kung paano nagiging isang ganap na halaman ang buto na itinatanim natin. So, kaway-kaway sa mga plantitos and plantitas out there. Okay? How's the video? Parang ganito ang pagsulat ng biography at autobiography. May proseso, and as simple as that, kailangan detalyado. Hindi basta tumutubo ang mga buto. Kahit itanong natin sa mga agriculturist or sa mga kilala natin ng mga local farmers, kailangan itong i-cultivate, itil ang ground, and then kailangan totoong alagaan natin para makita natin yung magandang halaman na ina-expect natin. Ganon din sa pagsulat ng biography and autobiography. It needs research, creative words to describe stories. Kailangan isupply natin yung pinakamagagandang mga salita na magfa-fashion din ng text natin. Okay? So, yun po yung ibig sabihin ng video na yun. Kaya sana ganun din sa pagsulat natin, makita doon yung totoong proseso, makita yung lalim ng purpose natin, bakit kailangan nating sumulat ng autobiography and biography. So, kailangan may purpose and kailangan makultivate din natin ito hanggang sa mabuo natin yung buong structure ng ating sinusulat. For your activity number 1, answer this question based on your real life experience. So the question here is, what is your pandemic story? You will write a memoir that answers this question. It depends on you what your technique and style will be in writing, how you would be able to show your experience through your engaging words and stories, and try to limit your writing piece to 3 paragraphs only. So this is the rubrics. We have the criteria here. Okay, let me read the criteria. So the title should be interesting. The writer presented his thoughts about the topic clearly. The ideas were developed and organized properly. The writer shows, not tells, informs and entertains and moves the readers. And lastly, the technique of writing is engaging and creative. So we have here the rating 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. For our assessment part, let's assess your understanding on the lesson. You may answer this and send to our Google Drive, but don't forget to place it inside your own folder. Okay? So I'll be sending this to our Google Drive. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions to answer. Finally, my presentation will about to end, but I have a very interesting additional activity for you. You can always use this to record your thoughts, feelings, or emotions in a particular situation you are into. This is what Larry Smith calls 6-word memoirs. Okay, Larry Smith is the founder of the 6-word memoirs. Okay, so let's have this segue. Okay, so I just read this article from theguardian.com, Society 2020, last December 31. So, during pandemic pa rin ito nabuo. So, meron doon, kaya merong article na nagsasabi na according to research, maraming mga grown-ups today na naghahanap ng mga memories, nag-gather ng mga things na tungkol sa kanilang mga parents, okay? And bakit nagkaganon? Kasi marami ngayon sa pandemic natin, maraming nawala, nakapamilya, maraming nangyari na hindi inaasahan. Kaya sabi nila, grown-up children are realizing now that if there ever was a time to record their parents' stories, the time is now. Okay? Kaya Silver agreed to have his memoir written because during the pandemic, he had time to think back over his life and realize he wanted his past to be understood and remember. Okay, kaya ganun din yung gagawin natin. Okay? With this, you can create one story in a very creative way. 6-word memoirs. You can send your 6-word memoirs, only 6 words, okay, to our Google Drive. And if you wish to publish it in any social media platform you have, you are free to do it. Just put hashtag myCNF 6-word memoirs 2021. But remember, it will not be graded according to the number of likes and shares. Okay, I will gonna read some example of the 6-word memoirs for you to be able to have an idea. Okay, so we have here from Stella Clement, not a criminal but running mask. Not a criminal but running mask. Okay, how about this one from Leela Chandra. Okay, 8 hour of YouTube send help. Okay, so ang dami ngayon nagbababad sa YouTube, sa Facebook. So paano nyo yun ilalagay sa words as your memoir? I regret saying I hate school, from Rihanna Heffron. Read every book in the house, from Francesca Gomez Novi. And it's good here, bad time for an open marriage. Social distancing myself from the fridge, Maria Leopoldo. Okay, to end up, allow me to share you this very timely quotation. Write what should not be forgotten. Okay, so with that, I will say goodbye to every one of you, and I do hope you have learned even a little. Okay, pagkasyahin nyo na yun. So maraming salamat, thank you, and God bless you everyone. Bye-bye.